start off, I'll be sharing a small backstory on Arcana Studios. Started by Sean O'Reilly, it was first launched in 2003. It started off as a comic book publishing company under the name Arcana, publishing graphic novels and gaining rights to the characters and stories that they published. In 2012, they opened up their own animation studio, respectively named after the main company. They used their large collection of content that they owned or had access to up to that time and created their own animated films and TV shows. Since then, they've built up several teams and studios around the world. In 2022, Arcana Studios released a live-action film based off of one of their graphic novels titled Corrective Measures. The movie featured a couple of well-known actors like Thomas Cavanagh, who you might know from the TV series The Flash, or Michael Rooker, who's known for his work as Merle Dixon in The Walking Dead, and Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. This decision opened up new opportunities for Arcana come the following few years, and led to Sean co-producing in more live-action media, like The Order, Women of the Hour, and the latest live-action movie, Locked, which is currently in production as of 2024. The commute to Arcana was definitely a new experience for me. Prior to the start of my first day, I prepared bus schedules with my parents to see the easiest and quickest way to get to and from Arcana. Unfortunately, the trip I needed to make was still longer than I expected. First of all, I would need to take a bus that passes by our road at around 6:20. I'd then have to take this bus to Surrey Central, where I'd have to catch a SkyTrain that took me to Edmund Station. From here, I'd have to catch another bus that took me to Holdham Station. After a solid 20 minutes or so, I'd take my stop at Douglas Road, where I'd finish my commute by walking to the studio. This entire trip takes around 2 hours, which meant that if I wanted to get there on time at 9:30, I'd have to wake up every day at around 5. This was a change in pace for me, as I usually woke up an hour or so later when I'm leaving for school. Compared to the commute to get to Arcana, the actual work experience itself was enjoyable. Throughout the whole experience, I had a list of tasks and responsibilities. Group 1, or active tasks, comprises of physical action, tasks that require me to move stuff around and lift or carry things. I usually got these done in around 30 minutes or so. Group 2, or static tasks, were tasks that required me to spend a lot of time in one place, working on one thing for a longer period of time. These tasks usually took around 1 to 3 hours. Spanning the duration of the placement, I alternated between active and static tasks. However, most of the impact I made during my time at Arcana was done through static tasks. My supervisor Adam prepared a computer for me to work at and assigned me a wide variety of projects to edit. Almost all of the projects Adam tasked me with consisted of making promotional media for movies and TV shows. This meant that I was making promotional reels for Instagram and TikTok. On top of this, I was also tasked to create actual trailers for movies that they were releasing soon. In order to make plausible trailers, Adam gave me all the movies involved and told me to watch them over and to note down the plot. So I basically spent good chunks of my day simply just watching movies. Aside from promotional media, Adam also had me work on some storyboarding for an unreleased TV series. It's still in the very early phases of production, so I was asked to refrain from sharing too many details about the project. Nearing the end of my placement, and after getting a good feel on what working at Arcana is like, I can form a solid opinion on whether or not I want to work there. I can take into account the fact that I worked at Arcana during a pretty jumbled time, as they were in the transition to move between 2 locations. This usually meant that I was only working with 2 people throughout my entire week. Even with this in mind, I can say that I had a good experience working there. My supervisors were friendly, laid-back people who didn't rush me or my work and let me work at my own pace. The environment I was working in was calmer than I expected, but I have a feeling that it isn't usually as quiet when you're working in a studio made for 50 people. I could possibly see myself working a career in the editing department of an animation studio. Even if they are an animation studio, there's a job for everyone. It allowed me to both contribute to the company and flex my creativity at the same time through the content that I edited. If a student in the future is looking to work in a studio with tight-knitted relationships, working together on content that's shown on social media, I would recommend working at Arcana Studios. If someone like me, who has interests in editing, could do something productive and impacting in just 3 weeks, someone with more related interests and a longer time frame could do so many more things.